I'm Melissa Ponzio, and I'm on FrConventions. I do remember my audition process from Teen Wolf. I was out in Los Angeles, but I was based out of Atlanta, and they were looking for the mom roles in Atlanta. And one of my best friends, Tiffany Morgan, she called me and she said, "Hey, have you heard about this Project Teen Wolf? I just went in for the mom role, but you look exactly like the kid." And so I was like, "What's this kid's name?" And so I got on the internet and I looked up Tyler, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he could be my kid." So I started the process to see. I wasn't one of the first people that they invited to audition, and so I had to kind of ask my people to get me in. And so they got me in, and then I had something called a callback. So they had seen a whole bunch of people, and they liked a few more of these people, and so we got to come back in a second time. And then they kind of made decisions. I thought that I wasn't in the running, and then I got a call one day, and they're like, "Look, you're not their first choice." So there were other Mama McCalls that they were looking at, but all those girls turned it down, and they were like, "Do you wanna accept this role?" And I said, "I would love to accept this role," because even though I was out in Los Angeles, it was shooting back in Atlanta for the first 2 seasons. And I remember my manager saying, "Well, don't worry about it. It's only going to be like maybe 2 or 3 episodes. You know how these shows go, like Vampire Diaries. You see the family members and the moms and the dads, and then they kind of trickle away, and the kids kind of take over. That's what's going to happen with this show." And that decidedly did not happen, because Jeff Davis was very proud of the parent roles that he had, and luckily in season 2 and season 3, the parents got more involved, and that is the history of Mama McCall on Teen Wolf. Tyler is a very special man. When he had grown up in Hollywood, he had had many opportunities to work on many different shows before coming to Teen Wolf. He is a natural-born leader. He is a natural-born, caring, beautiful spirit. His mother and his father raised him so very well. He, in the business we say he's number 1 on the call sheet, which means that he is the top of the person on the cast. And every day he shows up, and he shows up with his best self, and he shows up in a very caring, happy, joyous mood. Of course, we all have bad days because we all get tired when you're working 14, 18 hours a day at the most. But he is just someone that you gravitate to naturally. And lucky enough, the first day that we worked together, we had sat down and had lunch together, and it was just him and I talking. And I just knew it was just going to be that he was a special person, and that this was going to be a special show, and this was going to be a special relationship. So it didn't really take that much effort, so to speak. He has never met a stranger. Just a really kind, beautiful spirit. And we're all very lucky to know him, and we're all very lucky to work with him. Oh, I feel like I feel very honored to be accepted and loved, and to be wanted by our friendships within our cast. It's a really wonderful thing when you're able to work with people, and then the friendship or the relationship sustains time and length apart. We can kind of come together. And Daniel and I were having a very deep conversation this morning before we went into the opening ceremonies. Or we kind of have time in the car to with somebody, and you can just spark up a conversation on a topic that you had 7 years ago. And so I think that we all are a family. We are all mothers and sisters and brothers and fathers to one another. We're kind of like, we're all holding hands through this, really, and it's a really beautiful thing. You don't get that with every cast. You just don't. And again, I think that comes from the top down. Our lead kids have always been welcoming and wonderful to everyone, and how could you not be friends with these guys? Yeah, it's really amazing to see where cast members have gone from Teen Wolf. to your point, a lot of our cast were younger, maybe this was just their big first, foray into television, and to see where they have taken that has been amazing. Everybody has different interests. I mean, you see Holland, and she's had that whole van life for a while. Dylan has done a lot more independent work than I thought that he would have, and that's a testament to who he is as a creator and an artist. Daniel has gone overseas and has had a wonderful career. Andrew not only still is an actor, but he's a director. He actually does very curated artistic interior design. He's written books. We have a lot of people on the show that are singer-songwriters, people that have gone on to more established shows or gotten shows off the ground. And that's fun. That's a lot of fun to see everybody's work progress over the years. I found it very fun to play Mama McCall in the way that she was written as a single mom, a very dedicated nurse, and someone that, for all intents and purposes, didn't really have a partner. Her partner really in life was her son. And maybe we saw some flirty games, and maybe we had some kissy face, with Argent. But in the movie, that wasn't really explored. They kind of pulled back on that a little bit, so there was some distance there in that relationship. And I remember, I think, in the 4th season going into the 5th or 6th season, if we're lucky enough, actors get called by, writers, writer rooms, curators, and say, hey, what would you like to see, coming up in your storyline? What would you like? And I remember having that conversation, and I said 2 things. It'd be great to have a little bit more comedy, a little bit more funny. Actors always like to have a little bit of light comic relief. And then they said, well, if there was anyone on the show, who would you like to end up with? And I literally said, as quick as a whip, is there anything that's written that maybe Mama McCall can just be single? Like, there are single moms out there that never find a partner, and they still get it done. And why do we have to have this archetype that a woman has to have a man? You don't. So it was, that's not to say it wasn't fun to have that work with JR, and it wasn't fun to have the flirty games with, the sheriff, and obviously my ex-husband, and a date with Ian. I always joke that Mama McCall had more boyfriends on the show than anybody else. But there was something to be said to stand tall and proud and alone and say that she did it on her own. It was amazing. It was amazing to get that call. Jeff called me and he's like, you can't tell anybody. You have to keep this a secret. But it looks like we're going to be able to do a movie over at Paramount. And I kept that secret. I didn't tell anybody. Partly because you want it to happen so bad, and you almost keep it like inside because you don't want your feelings hurt if it doesn't happen. And then how joyous it was when he finally was like called up and said, it looks like this is gonna be greenlit. And not only are we doing this Teen Wolf movie, but we're gonna bring it back to Atlanta, where it all started, because the first 2 seasons we shot in Atlanta, Georgia. And so that was fun. And it was also a testament to Jeff to be able to write as many characters back into the story. I always say this, that Teen Wolf is very rich. Beacon Hills is very rich. We've had a lot of character development. We've had a lot of story development over the 6 seasons. And so there was a lot of source material for him to pull from. And I thought that he did a really great job of getting as many characters back into the Teen Wolf movie as possible. And we hope for a second, we're always hoping for a second. It was a dream of ours, I think, all of us, to have a movie made. And and it being associated with MTV, a lot of those products do go on to be movies. And so the fact that we got to do it was just a gift. I think it would be tremendous to come back, but to what I just said, there's so many characters on this show. It would be an absolute gift, even just to make a quick appearance. But I want to honor what the fans want too. And there's a lot of people that weren't in the first movie that could be in the second movie. And so you have to. It's a chess game, right? You have to move the pieces around. So as much as I would love to be a part of it, I also understand that if I'm not, there's a good reason why. It's someone else's yes on the show. And I think that speaks to our audience as well, I think that most of our characters have been accepted and beloved, even the monsters. So, everybody gets a shot, hopefully, at the next one. And hopefully there's a next one.